OscarPro and are curious about what smart encounters are, at a very high level, it's Oscar's Pro rich text editor. So they've taken it, the rich text editor components, and then made it in OscarPro, and you are able to create templates more easily, and the user can create the templates. So what I mean by that is, and actually before I dive into that, there is some administrative setup that you need to do to enable this feature. So in your administration panel, under Forms and eForms, if you click on Forms, all the available forms that are in Oscar will be on the right. So the one that you want to search for is Smart Encounter. So this is the one that by default, I believe it does not appear. So when you select on Smart Encounter, you're going to click on Add, and now it's going to be viewable in your patient's chart under Forms. So I'm going to close this now, and then I'm going to go into my patient's eChart. And this is a form, not an eForm. So when I hover over the brown banner, apologies, under the plus sign, and I click on Smart Encounter, we get something that looks very similar to the rich text editor. The boxes are similar. There's some differences as well. But the nice thing about this is that you can create your templates fairly easily in the administration panel, which I'll show you in a second. But for example, I've created a template called cat sick note. And in yellow are some key data placeholders that got auto-populated based on the patient's information. And when you are filling out this, if you're going to add more information via the blocks or set up your templates with pre-populated items, whenever you're done with your template, you need to save it before you can print or fax it. So I've had physicians confused as to why these were grayed out. Again, it does not make sense to me, but when you save it, the buttons will appear available. I'm not exactly sure why they did it that way. So now I want to show you how you can actually create your templates. We're going to go back to the administration panel. And when you expand forms, you will now see, because you enabled the Smart Encounter through the form, you will have this new feature here, Smart Template Form Setting. And then this is where you can set up your letter templates, where you can use some key data like database tags. And then we'll get to short codes in a moment as well. So to add a new template, I'm going to click on this Add New button here. And this is your options here for text format, so what you see at the top. But here, this is what I found very interesting compared to the rich text editors that I've seen. And those who are familiar with old rich text editor template design, this is all of the database tags that you can use to build a template. So it's actually quite an extensive list. So a lot of common like placeholder tags would be today, it would be the patient's full name, patient label, for example, today's date being a good one, pronouns. So there's a lot of data points here that you can use to build a template or a letter template. So I encourage you, if you're an Oscar user and you see use of leveraging a letter generator, and you have used rich text editor before, or if you haven't even, but I would encourage you to look at Smart Encounter to see if this would also maybe be more I guess, promising, or not promising, sorry, but it would have more opportunities to create more specific templates. And then once you create your template through the different codes, patient name, however you want to structure it, hello, my name. You also need to name it. You would need to scroll down and click save. And then everyone has access to the same templates. So just an FYI, I wouldn't delete these ones unless you check in with your colleagues because it is clinic level. Now, short codes are very similar. Someone asked a great question about dot phrases in Oscar, and if templates was the equivalent. It is, but I think short codes are probably the closest you will get to the dot phrases with an Oscar. But again, it only works in the Smart Encounter tool. It does not work across all Oscars. But this is basically same structure where you create a code and then you do a predefined text. So it's a template in a template, but again, you can only use it in the Smart template format. So if I want to say signature, sincerely, oh my goodness, I cannot type. I'm just going to do cheers instead. For example, and then click save at the bottom. The way you would trigger it is the exact same way that you would trigger it with the backslash. So if we go back to the patient's chart, and then we are going to trigger the Smart Encounter under Forms. And then if I do signature and then the backslash, this is where it auto-populates. But again, it is only in this free text, this tool. It does not apply to any other free text fields in Oscar. Dr. John, yeah.
So I've not seen this feature before. I noticed that I actually do have it. I
Oh, amazing.
kind of went along with what you were doing. I don't know where I would use this. What is the case use scenario that you envision for this?
Great question. So what use cases would you use a rich text editor?
Currently, I would use it for a one-pager, very short note that I would like to write to a specialist.
Mm-hmm.
That
So
I
that's,
could do exactly that in the consult manual, consult module rather. It has all their contact information in there too, and then
yeah,
could kind of repurpose it for that reason.
yeah,
I wouldn't necessarily want to use it for a sick note because we have an e-form that does that way more elegantly, and
yeah,
I have way more control over it. I
totally.
wouldn't use it to write a note in the chart because that doesn't go into the chart, doesn't go anywhere.
I do believe there's an option for, no, it doesn't. Oh, I saw a demo previously that there was a paste to encounter, or it might have been something else. So,
We
but
have created e-forms that will paste the encounter.
yes,
That was a
yes,
huge function
definitely.
developed by you way back when.
So to answer your question, OscarPro took the rich text editor and created this module. So in clinics that use the rich text editor for creating referral letters or other letter specific that links to patient information, that's where I would recommend using the rich text editor or a Smart Encounter. The benefit with this Smart Encounter with OscarPro is that you can create your own templates and it's user-friendly versus with the rich text editor, it was more convoluted and more technically demanding. So they just made it more user-friendly to create your own letter templates. So I really like that question, Dr. John Yap, because I would want to open it to the group. Where do you feel like you could use a tool like this? But it is a newer tool. I do believe Smart Encounter was released last year. I might be wrong, but it is a newer tool.
Very new. I've never seen it before until today.
Awesome. Which surprises me. So Uh,
Well, I think if there was a need for something,
yeah.
we would ask for it, but
Mm.
more likely just create it ourselves. Because I asked for a Care Connect button for like a year and a half, and I never got it. So we just created our own.
Awesome.
Just being
Okay.
cognizant of time, I know we're kind of hitting close to the end. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. There is one quick question in the Q&A box for Dr. Yap and Dr. Chang. Maybe just a quick answer. It's basically for going back to the Espanso. The question is if there's any like place where people can share files and grab files for that. I guess similar to like the Oscar Galaxy for like forms, is there a place to share it, or is it just, you connect with a colleague and they have it and they send it to you?
I think if you're using it for clinical purposes, you'd want to get it from somebody who's been using it in that setting. Online, I think there's a lot of examples of how you can very elegantly use it for multiple things, and you can adapt it to your own needs. But again, that requires a little bit of adventure into programming. And what I would say to Herb and others who are using this, sometimes we actually put in quick access or quick expanders to like passwords and that. So we need to be very careful what we share. Yes, it can be convenient, but if you don't know what's in there, it can also be dangerous.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Awesome.
totally agree with that. I'm not aware of any sharing sites. I think it's more just reaching out to somebody and sharing it. But before you share it, make sure you go through your files.
Perfect.